and I said the prediction by yes
but we are now signing off. We are now signing off.
All right, Mate Captain. Yeah, you bet was Hana, Yane, Alaya Fonibi, Eddie, and Como because Ochina ma, ha, Nadichia ya Wadamum, and Asitanano, a bet was so. Chumam in Kennedy, and Wapa, Nijana say. So Babijina Adakamu, and Aqua ye, Apochino. Obia advancing the points. The reasons are or jidi say obejinemu anase eho enhia we dey ebi mo some mo kan say a maneuver Rasta man throw one stone one na dance near so manaba no the kan ya na say my lord me dance ni no ma enu na kofa saa twema mentwe nyina aba entumi entwa ya afei ene ye say ya woda ye betumi etusa asemi ho aginaye mahunu say alaya for na sha say AP ama ben me kakra na yene alaya for no bedi enkomo na yahwe on the whole no and asemi ni summary eden pa because debate manemrem me manemrem case we by ye bre bisa o say my lord we ne ye asam foforo nipa no ye de adwuma bi ahye ne nsa a constitutional mandate eni na so otumba beginem we say the statement no aye evidence ana just a twema mentwe saa inside the hall edu ba bi na twatwubo fu kakra say aye say lawyer for no kasa na wo mo twetwe so mo ye ne dan yo na net sen
Tachuche mu se o hwe de ne ekoso na enkoyie esan se oso ogina ne nan so ekasa na hwe court practices na lawyer for firm ni atemu for firm se otemu for bi kasa se wo lawyer no ye din na otie no san so na se lawyer bi gina ne nan so no kasa ense se edemo obi serese na se obi twetwe bia ho ba chachu asema na wo ka no chemu se ebra wo kasa no ohun se MPP firm MPP lawyer for no akotwampa Frank Davis no eno mo etiti eche woni nyina esere ema ye na etesoro no kwa ebi sere esanse ne ye se da nim ye kwose but obi esere bintin ema ye kwosere bi ye eno na chachu chem se da bi esa distract no into osate mu afo no se atemu for nkasanche himself say side distractions na ban ene na mamigidi say obo atemu afo na mani atemu afo ni sugina so etu for say omunyai esanse encome enhyehyɛ ya yedidi dwuma e court na ho
debate na share on social media ebi say oh ye mane magina mu ebi say there be ehun hia so obegina mu menim among mo amwo inside the hono do you get that same feel
Yenya sa feel no argument ahoro a almost start here o hwe ne easy lawyer kan ye any citations references ahoro a o make ye na no so nyina so chem say there be wona wo de asem ba court ye de yenka se ye ba court ya to abawie ya announce awie na ye ti ye ba bi na wa frɛ ye say asem bi abanti no wo de yen ba court wo de ya ba court there ene esese odi nyina so papa eba ekire mu se ani weni nti ena esese ye begina dakam nti untimi nka se odi wasem ba court wantimi improve case na chenchina cha ye metina adakam eno any easy lawyer just na maneuver ni nyina so a work weni nsem
amen chifat na minim nura na hefo na share press conference no se be ya mostly na challenge ya enya ya nura and MPP na be share nti ma menni kan ne lawyer fati eni nkomo kakra empombo ko de
ja
ya da se pan so se waje en so de ya then se mo wie no na ndisi for na bantia ya na difficult to get one-on-one interviews nti na pese no share no de ko ye nyina no na tofa bo mo hu ne sen e be kwa mamu ana likely say ya ma easy enyina daka no
oh so who say ensem no say ye cannot court say aya na ye ntime nya ade afa no public litigation enti nsem ne etime ka bi ne court na bu adada nenso so omo sorry so say so omo ko ahomegiem na akire omo de emuaye na ba no ntime nchechim ba sa wo hwe fitinura beka ne e court na eye enra na petitioner a wode na asema beda court former president John Dramani Mahama na lawyer for say o masem omo de baye emu adanse enimu enyina so ni bibi omo de abawie o maka awie ne omo de beba na omo de aba no enti asa na no na court no ka asa ne asa de ombe ma akwanya ama ɛyɛ afanu mienu a yɛasama wɔn court ɛyɛ electoral commission ɛne president Nana Akufo-Addo lawyer for nso so ɔmbɛyi adansefo a ɔmo nso so ayi ɛna ɔmo kyerɛ sɛ ɔmo mpɛ sɛ ɔmbɛyi adanse efi sɛ court no sɛ wobɛsama obi wɔ asɛni bi a ɛyɛ wo wasɛdeɛ sɛ wode ho aka deɛ ne ho adanse ɛbɛda court nanso so ɔmo hwɛ so far ɛyɛ adansefoɔ mmiɛnsa na ɛyɛ petitioner na frɛ ɔmo ɛyɛ Owura Asiedu Nketia ɛyɛ Dr. Michael Pesa White ɛne Owura Robert Joseph Metal Nunu so far adanse ɔmo de aba no sɛbi emu ɔha koraa kyerɛ sɛ ɛho mehia sɛ afei na respondents no baba bɛyi adansefoɔ sɛ ɔmo mmɛbɔ ne mu ntokuro enti ɛno ɛna ɛyɛ petitioner na lawyer for say almost sorry TM second
and na akofa tweba mentwe na dia ba but okay say no menim say professor Bashas in as much as say na tweba mentwe na koye no what dream Ghana for be say o de o maginam na bibia ntwa ebi nso say o da bi ma na nyinam o hu ne sen
Kofi so hu asem no ne ka no nkwanchan nko ne ka no court dem nko ne o mo ka nyina agina mra so enti no sabi se wo besama obi wo court anya na abekere no se ne obesi adi na asem wo wasede ene se for adanse ne wa no yie bra enti ugidi se ne odi abedan court na emu odu yie na wasama abeka ne mu api na nipa na wasama no se memini adanse ane se hallelujah say DJ Bo onyom because ne opa na wanya no na say wo ka se da bi me ma dance no mu nya do enough na nka me opponent no ebe kan bi e do no so dance ba ye no na nka me be boni mu tokuro e de ababa be pe bibi agina so ama court na bu ama me ye nya ne sa o court e na say wo tie bia na say wo hwe bi o eye TV so a eye respondents na lawyer for court emra a yes high court civil proceeding Rule CI 47 no Omukoti order 36 Rule 4 sub Rule 3 and Omusakoti order 38 Rule 3 and sub Rule E5 and E1 I sabi se obi ba court na se ono na oba be yinsema no na se o ka se ai se petitioner na kana se ma wi mini anu ya enye nhye.
All right. Some rational me pick a press conference and say I won't say NDC a lawyer for no one day about to no sign.
This is Angel 102.9. This is Angel 102.9. This is Angel 102.9. This is Angel 102.9. This is Angel 102.9.
The main issue had to do with whether or not the chairperson of the Electoral Commission and the returning officer for the 2020 general election, returning officer for the 2020 general elections should take the stand and be cross-examined on a witness statement that she herself voluntarily filed before the court. Today, the issue had to do with whether she had elected, that is chosen to testify. You recall that when we applied for interrogatories, that is, we wanted to administer 12 questions to her that we thought were relevant and necessary in advancing the case before the court. She swore an affidavit in which she said the interrogatories should not be allowed and that when it comes to cross-examination, those questions can be put to her. In other words, she, at that point in time, evinced an intention to be cross-examined on whatever documents. You remember we served notice on her to inspect the original documents that served as the basis for her declaration on the 9th of December. Again, she swore affidavit in which she said the court should not grant us the leave to inspect original documents on the basis that if it comes to cross-examination, we will take our turn in impeaching her credibility in looking at those documents and their relevance to the case. And then also, during case management, orders were given for witnesses to file their witness statements. Again, Mrs. Jane Adukwe Mensah filed a witness statement in the matter, basically, again, saying that she was going to give evidence. So the point that our lead counsel was making today was a very simple one. There is evidence on record showing that she had elected to give evidence and to be cross-examined on the witness statement that she has filed. Now, we will not go into the merits or demerits of what she has filed because the court is yet to give its ruling on that on Thursday. But suffice it to say that the reason why we are insisting that she be allowed to testify is simply because, my brothers and sisters, this is not a debt collection case. We are not here dealing with a private matter, the private interest of private litigants. We are here dealing with the public interest. We are here dealing with the declaration of the results that reflected, or is supposed to have reflected, the sovereign will of the people of this country. We are here dealing with Article 1 of the Constitution that says that the sovereignty of Ghana resides in the people of Ghana, in whose name and for whose powers of government must be exercised. And so, for her to have declared that the sovereign will of this country, as expressed on December 7, 2020, elected Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo as President of the Republic, she has a constitutional duty to account to the people of this country for how she arrived at that conclusion. And that constitutional duty means that she cannot, under any circumstance, be allowed not to account to the people through cross-examination, because cross-examination is one of the mechanisms allowed by law for exacting accountability of litigants. And this is not an ordinary litigant, as I've said. This is a constitutional office holder. And so our case is very different from some of the, even the English cases that were being cited are of no moment when it comes to this peculiar matter that we are dealing with in court. So I'll stop here and take some questions.
This is Angel 102.9.
So I'll stop here and take some questions.
So, Counsel, let me ask the first question. The impression that we get from the sitting of the court today is that there is somewhat a time-tested principle of where witnesses have the option of saying that they would not testify. But there seemed to be an attempt to say that that time-tested principle should be set aside and a new order should be introduced. Is that the impression we should get?
That is where a decision had to be made by the Electoral Commission with respect to whether or not to testify. They made an election. They decided they were going to testify. And the rules are very clear that when you have elected to testify, you can't walk back from that election. And that is what we want. We want the court to hold her to that election that she made, both in terms of the affidavits that she issued before the court, basically pointing to our right to cross-examine her when it comes to her evidence in chief, and then also the filing of the witness statement. That is itself is concrete evidence of that intention to be cross-examined. And again, as a public officer, she has to account to the people of Ghana, and that is why we want her to take the stand. Public officer, she has to account to the people of Ghana, and that is why we want her to take the stand.
Angel 102.9.
Okay, sir, in most of the proceedings, the panel seems to rule that the legal counsel for the petitioner is not hitting the threshold to make this case relevant. Why then don't you rather?
I can barely hear what you...
Okay, in most of the proceedings, the panel seems to rule that the legal counsel for the petitioner is not hitting the threshold to make this case relevant. Why then don't you rather, with the greatest of respect, channel your focus on the amendment of some of the constitutional laws and, as a matter of fact, CI 126?
I don't know what proceedings have been made, and in fact, the respondents themselves have walked back from those arguments. You remember yesterday, they said something about a submission of no case. And I do remember that MPP communicators went, Bizek, they went to town saying that they were making a submission of no case, we had not crossed the threshold of the burden of proof and so on. Today, you saw that upon serious reflection, they walked back. They are not, because the consequences of a submission of no case are dire for them. They know that when they make a submission of no case, all right, then they will have to strike out their witness statement, their pleadings will have to go off, and the petitioner's case will stand uncontested, and all our release will be granted, which means that His Excellency JM will be sworn in as President of the Republic of Ghana. His Excellency JM will be sworn in as President of the Republic of Ghana.
I recognize the significance of the ruling that we are all anticipating. Are you able to share with us the effects on your side, whichever way this ruling goes?
No, we will not a situation where we are commenting on, the outcome even before it has come. All right? The famous quotation from the court now is, when we get to that bridge, we'll cross it. We hope that the bridge will be there when we are getting to it. Bridge will cross it. We hope that the bridge will be there when we are getting to it. All right, thank you very much. See? Okay.
Angel.
Say about the Akoso court kofa e wo twika se wa dika kan se de na akoso court ene de nra yehun wo court no e ya nwanwasem kese pa ntia me kasa ne se Ewra John Dramani ama
This is Ghana's own
Abba
Angel 102.9. 102.9.
Chairperson G.
This is Angel.
Then Sasha Sanu ye na siwie ye no. Why the lawyer for friend no affidavit of na no disem wo dia to court na nim ni nyina ye no kwasem. We are sure ye be case management court ma order say isi for adanse for do say na mo be frɛ mo say ba ko madanse ni ni hwan a the chairperson order say by on fa na dance kratamra 22nd January 2021 ye ma mi de ne sa kratase a odi abreko ndi odi ne with affidavit of verification the statement aba na dance krata aba eno so statement of truth ye kire nyina ne say adanse krata no so bibia ye no kre ebiem yegusu aye case management mo be kai a lawyer chachuchita lawyer for the petitioner esre court ne say omoma ye misa jimensa nsemfua be edu mienu na sa anu ye ne be no kre wo sa asem we mu no ene entrene aye adwuma ye ma mi jimensa anu ye in opposing this request no the okan ne say emma court no oda ne say on answer sa questions no because John Mahama na lawyer for benya kwanya during cross examination ebisa na sansem bisa ni nyina na kire say Jimensa on different occasions not only in her answer and answer the witness statement mu but affidavit ye adanse a waswan ama court no nyanti ase say obeba adaka ni mu abedi adanse ne ye wasem bia ye bisa no afa enra John Mahama awie the case na dance for me ensa nyina di o madanse awie omunyina ewuru adaka ni mu with akukodro answer all questions are all sides the respondents had for them because omunim se no kretrodo no moka and omunim se omutim fita edu ye ma me so metena adaka mu a ye ma me se adaka ne pa de ontena mu na entena mu kina wasesa na adwen on ma adaka ni mu na danse krata no ono ane de ba ye se de akura se maka menwe yenti no yemfa na de ma no mfa nkofie oni adanse adan na wo mpese wo ba be di adanse na ya toto wano na ya bisa wonsem because in 2012 Owura Ferijan eba court to defend the constitutional obligations and to show say abatwa sambre no ka say John Mahama we no na wa we ni ampa answered all questions nti wonya boni bia adwuma kama denti ena akontam udwane no eno ho asem ne yabaka say ye insisted through our lawyer say court no enhye maame no na ometena daka no because ono ankasa fa tu ansi ni so ono ankasa ene ka kire court ne say omommo saa ye interrogatories ne saa ye nsem bisa no ntontwene because obetena daka ni mu a saa nsem bisa ni nyire betimia bisa no. And so having intimated that to the court on to me sanso starting the lawyer kaka on
Angel 102.9.
Jimensa is not an ordinary witness in an ordinary private interest. Jimensa is not an ordinary witness in an ordinary case involving private interest. Or yet the constitutionally mandated person ono na batwa ye nyina na esi ni na so obobo results na bibia woni tim enti echinyagi a aba figures wunyina no ono pe na obetumi ayi ano na busiafo ebia na munim de enti Jimensa ompeso obewura daka ni mu no na mo meyan kan kire mo de enti Jimensa ompeso obewura daka ni mu ne se onim se na komam declaration na wa ye ya court ne say or human accepted that declaration and the figures in the declaration, you know, or Mampenya Kufu Adomah more than 50%. No, so why correction of the mistake, you know, and no correct or better than anymore. She will be exposed because the ever-changing figures are what don't see, no, a begun anymore say. I'm a Ghana for you know who say Onya no kwafo. A BMG mentioned himself from 13 now or the IN exhibit 4, which is the presidential declaration form. The lawyer say of failing on 9 December at the tare dan ho baby our year declaration. Onimzo otsna daka ni mu a ehun sem bisa beba ebema na da dises a form no enye papa. She knows she will be confronted with questions about the authenticity of that form and she cannot justify the authenticity of same. Enunti na wo dwana no. Enunti mamuntie de ebinumo ka say oh NDC for an John Mahama intimi case bia. That is why Jimensa says Oma. Ye case ya deba court no is simple. Why a declaration? Per wa declaration o Mampenya Kufu Ado enya more than 50%. One kasa wa gia to musa wa yemfonso. But ye kasa nei o declaration wa ye nyina ye ba ko pe. Nsachira ya wa ye no mu bia ni wa. Wo de won sa sha ase ama na be ye mra na wa gazette. There is only one declaration. And it is that 40 declaration that has been enacted into CI 135 and has been gazetted. And sa funsoni nyina no Jimensa nankasa agiatum. Omo correction social media no ayanajo manasem because figures ni insisi. If papa mpo ye declare ye enact presented a compelling
This is Angel 102.9.
Young Gazette. And we have presented a compelling and a solid case. MPP for him said they have a case to answer. Crocodile John near the Roman Assembly Omusro. And you saw say the president of the bench at some point beside lawyer Kotampa said, now when you bra what you say we won't free. Oh yeah, Jimensa na easy for lawyer na. So it should let you know that because they were the beneficiaries of the unconstitutional conduct of Jimensa, any the easy for ayen intino. Omusro se maame no ebeba daka nim. Eya sense ba ye jayama court. Na court de atemu no. Aba.
Yentimi anyanyansa se ma misa no se na ye ni maguasa.
Ai. Na ye de no yenya decision on ya woda na the general secretary ka ene se. Una o se NDC for ye ni asem bia. We don't have any issue. Yentimi kura misa wasem papa bia because the case ni bogus. Ave adana usro. That's not that nim. Na be expose how hollow our cases. This is not the time for her to run. She must account for her constitutional duties.
This is Ghana's own Angel 102.9. 102.9. This is Angel 102.9. This is Ghana's own Angel 102.9. 102.9. This is Ghana's own Angel 102.9. 102.9.
Indeed, the entire citizenry of Ghana who have taken time off their busy schedules to follow the proceedings of the Supreme Court. Indeed, the trajectory of this case leans credence to our position that this petition, as it stands now, does not meet the threshold of Article 64. Indeed, our position today has affirmed this assertion. It is a tried principle of law that there is the right to be heard. But inherent in this right is the right not to speak. The petitioner exercised their right to be heard, and they spoke. We have decided, as the second respondent, not to exercise this right. And in actual fact, a petitioner who has confidence, full confidence in his case, should be happy, probably popping some champagne or drinking some tea, because we have decided not to adduce any evidence. However, it is curious that the petitioner, on whom the burden of proof lies, wants the Electoral Commissioner to mount the witness box in order for him to use the Electoral Commissioner to prove its case. This is not heard of, and our application today was grounded, firmly grounded, in law. Lawyers, when we go to court, decide the strategy we want to take. We, as counsel for the second respondent, decided to take this course of action. And we indeed feel that this is the master stroke and has, should I say, has disturbed the camp of the petitioner. And that is why they have made lengthy submissions as to why this should not hold. The court, we are in the bosom of the court, and we know that tomorrow the court will adjudge in our favor. We are hopeful that the court will rule in our favor. Let me land with a quote from Shakespeare in my favorite book, Hamlet, which says, "To thine own self be true, and it must follow as the night and the day. Thou canst not then be false to man." The truth is only one, and the truth is that His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo was validly elected the President of the Republic of Ghana in the 2020 election. Thank you. We'll now take some questions. Election. Thank you. We'll now take some questions.
Different number of occasions, you have indicated to us that Chairman McMahon was always available with his pink sheets. Outside the law, I just want to find out, are you not worried about the optics in the sense that you have insisted that your candidate won the election? The custodian of the documents, the court says, should not let the petitioner see the documents. They now say they want him to go into the box, and effectively your counsel agreed that she should not go into the box. The question is, if indeed your candidate won the election validly, what could be the damage of the EC chairperson confirming the obvious, which you insist you have the records to show?
We have always said that we are poised and we are at the mercy of the court. If the court decides that we should give evidence, our star witness is more than ready. But it is curious to note that the petitioner has all the documents that he is requesting for. The petitioner has not met the threshold that has brought us to court. Yes, there is a court of public opinion, but this is a court of law. And the reason why we are here is to challenge the validity of the election. It is to determine the 5 issues that have been set down for trial. And as long as these 5 issues have not been duly satisfied. We believe that the evidence that has been adduced does not in any way prejudice our case. So we have decided that as part of our strategy, and we bear the risk, we are ready not to call evidence. And I think that that should be something that we should be allowed to do. In the court of public opinion, what it is that the petitioner himself did not testify. That is something we should ask. Why is it that John Dramani Mahama did not testify in the matter? He is the one who has brought the matter to court. He is the one who, above all and beyond, is personally affected by the matter. So he should have brought the matter to court. When we speak about this court of public opinion, there are other avenues for redress. The Right to Information Act has been duly passed, and it was passed under the watch of His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. The rights under this act can be invoked. Parliament, the petitioner or any upstanding citizen who wants to ensure that the EC is held accountable, as has been bandied around in court when we are not here to challenge the validity of the election, can make formal applications in that regard. So we need to focus on the issues, the 5 issues that have been set down for trial by the court, and know that we are here because there has been a challenge to the validity of the election, and that is what is important. Per Article 63.3, the person who is elected as president, has to cross a 50%, more than 50% threshold. And that is why we are in court. It is not about laying to rest certain allegations that are unfounded. That is not why we are in court. Certain allegations that are unfounded. That is not why we are in court.
Just a minor follow-up. Will it hurt your case in any way should the EC chairperson come and speak and confirm what you believe is what actually happened, knowing very well that the people of Ghana have not heard from her?
Already. It is not about whether it will hurt our case or not. We are poised. In any way, if the court decides that we should give evidence, we will give evidence. But as I said, 1, each lawyer has their strategy for their case. 2, and more importantly, we are here to challenge the validity of an election. You, the petitioner, cannot use the evidence of the Electoral Commission to prove your case. No, that is not how it works. Evidence of the Electoral Commission to prove your case. No, that is not how it works.
I admit that indeed the proof is on the petitioner in the ongoing matters. But watching from what happened in court today, that your side also opposed that the Electoral Commission, chairperson of the Electoral Commission, who was returning officer for the poll, should mount the witness box and testify. Are you not interested, like the rest of us Ghanaians who are, in knowing what really transpired on the 9th of December, the night of the declaration in question? And also, would it not be more of a validation through the courts that indeed the president was validly elected and validly declared as such? On the matter of whether or not the petitioner has met the legal threshold in terms of proof, is that not left to the court to determine? I mean, in a number of press interactions for a number of days now, your side has always said that the petitioner has not delivered on that. Is it that determination reserved for the court, or it is...
The lawyer, you assess the case and you decide the strategy to take. In our estimation, the standard which we thought, we expected to be met has not been met. And as such, we think that the court, we pray the court to use the already existing evidence to ensure that it arrives at a final determination of the 5 issues that have been set down for trial. With your second question, I hope I remember. I think it's your first question. The Electoral Commissioner, I keep on saying, this Electoral Commissioner is very tech savvy. All the results, all the documents have been uploaded onto its website. This is an electoral commission that even has social media handles. It is in line with the transparency and the need for Ghanaians to know that this information has been put on these websites. So anyone who wants to know what actually happened just needs to visit their website, visit their Facebook page, or any other social media handle. The documents are there. And more importantly, the petitioner himself, through his witnesses, has admitted that he has all the documents. So there is no issue as to know what actually happened, because we all know what actually happened. And the documents to support same are available on the internet. And then when you come to the validation, as I said, the court is not here to validate who won the election. The petitioner has brought a petition challenging the validity. So if you are challenging the validity, then you need to show the court why this validity does not exist, or this validity is not what it is. So that is the burden of proof that is on the petitioner. And the court is not to validate what actually happened. So it's going into the actual issues, and that is what we are in court for. So let's always remember why we are in court. It's not about the public opinion, but for legal issues to be determined. Okay. So now I'll hand over to my sister Fati to give the tree translation.
Me nyanoma yeshemu ha. Ghana nsenkyerefo ene adehia omagibra omohwe yen wo fie. Me gidi say yen nyina eye ensam a ewo election petition mu a eye former president John Dramani Mahama ode abeda court na obi edi so. Nanso so ansa na mekọ ne enesi wo court dem ho na me kan mo say eye petitioner no ene Ghana for dodo na local and international observers ka ho mun central for cry enam mofidi akese bebre so edi abofo mo call enkro bebre so ko hwe sa collation na ekoso at the constituency level polling station region and national edi ho adanse epefe say ye de ye nim pefe say president Nana Danko Akufo-Addo aba ye koto on 7 December 2020 no odinkunim prekope sabi former president John Dramani Mahama ena wante ne ho ase ntine abepie mu o court ha na sabi nsama e ka no court ha na ayaye yi no enyina so ne adanse enya abosremu ka na sa obekan a ene da etoso dumiensa a court na sinkonwa wa ha na petitioner na nkasa o say ne bonyo election na ye koto on 7 December ne echire enkenkan mu petitioner no out of 13 times a court na sinkonwa no wapie mu a ha say premier nu pe lenya no nko a o petitioner no kra na eye court hansama ekoso esunsunsanso onim se ebeka na se ne se bi NDC ni bi a wotu ne na abesi ha no ono ankasa kra wanyi ne ho danseni amfa na danse ama medan court no samo beka no samo beka ya eye nra petitioner na lawyer for say ensama omode beda court enyina so enim no mo ankasa yi court na suture se nyame adoma adansefo num e na omo befre nyame adoma adansefo num e na omo befre omo form asem megu ene owura rojo meto.
This is Angel.
Esese adansefo mienu omu yi court suture se ombe from no omu nkofa omumra atokos there bi yenka asa efise court ha se na ayaba no ye de emra ena ye adwuma enti sa mra na ema petitioner no kwan se ma ne megina adaka mu medi adanse emfa moa ne case no sa mra na nso so na ma electoral commission chairperson so akwanya se won pese obegina adaka mu abedi adanse de abeboa ne case a ehu hia se obegina adaka mu enti na ye gina ha no na sa obekan so a eye petitioner no na dance for na lawyer for ensema na omo kan court dem ho no kame aye say omo kira ade ba kope se eye adance for miensa omo do mbegina adaka mu no ensama ombeto to papa so ne omo de beda court ni nyina ka me ayese antimi ama enyina so nti a adesrede omo de abeda court nanim sa court no enkase eye aba ma meji mensa o declare ye no eni ene mra no bo ebra anase eye aba ye koto ye no obi ani nkunim enti court no nhye na yensa anya nhyehyɛ foforo na eye former president John Dramani Mahama ene president Akufo Addo omo nsan kosi aka ni bio no oma dance for miensa na omo begina adaka mu ebe sa ye se omo ka nokre no omo mu bia ni ho no ma otimi ma adanse a etimi pagya omo koduru mpempenso a court no ebetu no ho asi o se sa adesrede omo de abedan court omo de be mo omo enu nti omo se sa ade a ene esese ekwa hayo esese ye hye EC chairperson ne keten se wo pe wo mpe o megina adaka mu ni antoto na no na ehe na wote sesa wo sama obi a nipa na wasama no ono ne sai na so die se obeyi wadanse enya wo wadanse ni nyina so na sesa ode be dan court no ebio ene obetie lawyer pe na no kasama petitioner na ose ai enam se ebra omo de adesrede beto court ba tan yanim se nke ma o makwanya no mo ntoto electoral commission na no enyi nsemfo abi asa akwanya na ama no na ekire se ne ye nhye se EC ba panyi begina adaka mu na nya sa na court ne kan court no a ruling omode ba ye on that issue of interrogatories no say efri say eye ensama na petitioner na lawyer for atweregu akrata so any set of questions omode be dan court no in interrogatories na ehun hia eye irrelevant enti na court no bogu ye court na antwerɛ wo ruling no mu say enam se na ma me na twerɛ e wo affidavit mu so onya akwanya say obegina adaka mu obeyi nsɛm na no nti ma na nya nti saa nsɛm na omo keka wo ha se ni nyina emfa kwan mu ebio mehu se petitioner no ne kasamafo ne lawyerfo ne bi begina adaka yanim a omo ka kire mo se ai eme se court dem ho de mrakwa mu de bia ne ani nkunim enti yamfa propaganda mbeda aga na adehye na omo nka ya semo maye na ada wunsura adenti na amegina adaka mu accountability nti adenti na amegina adaka mu ye nyina ye nim se ga na adehye ya na musifo wo mrahye bedwam asa eba no nkontabuo ne accountability a sabi omutimi frɛ isi no anase isi na adwumayefo ebre bia ema omo bebu nkunta ekire ga na adehye through parliament ema omo kasa adwuma amode maaye no mpempenso a ya akoduru ni na ha ne de yekɔ ena court na ya ba begina ha no eye petitioner no anchekire yen sa megina court ha se oba for accountability also oba se declaration na isi ba panyi eye no ebu eye Ghana mrapon no article 63 clause 3 enu nti na egina ha osi declaration na ma me ne na ebu mra because obia anya 50% plus osi ebu mra because onu no ahuma bi a eye nkontabuo num na ankoso ye ogidi se ebetima ye nsakiraye e wo results num enu nti na egina ha enti se ne nipa ne begina ha na nsemfua na onu no de beda Ghana adehye ema enu nyina so nti omutu emabunugu monten so ema ebihwere omo nkwa ebinya ankwanhia ebinya abayama ne na osa begina court wan fa sansemfua no mu bia meda court na ebewi ase no osi ye megina for accountability nti amesremo omo ba omo kan omo se enya enu nti na omo de ebegina court ha sei ebio se petitioner no accountability de so omo pa enya obakofo ho ene eje accountability yanye bin free petitioner no ho sa ono na Ghana fo akohoma a efiri aban no fotuom ene ye nyina ye kotokuom ye keka bo mu de ma isi ne so omo nko conduct election enu nti na candidates edumienu a no me presidential candidate omu nyina na musifo ye ma omo carbon copies of a pink sheet any coalition sheets from polling station constituency region and national na accountability nti na nka ehu behia se omampanyi dada se ode asem we ba court abetwema nso a enka obeka se mene mama nyokuo enam accountability any die sununku ne obu a ye wo maga na adehye nti enka nkonta ye bu ye no esunsunsu aso ni na nso so omo begina court ha omanfa accountability no ho nkonta ama anfa ho adanse ama na oma begina ya kase da bi ye de ye ni aso de bia maga na fo no ma hu so ma di nchonti eno mo de abegina ha sei adwane afiri nsam o mo de beda court no e be pre foforo se ne ene mu nyina mu sete ye no ya judge eye ajudge for mo tena adwam o muti obi anu asem eye second respondent a lawyer for me papa odi anim eye oru akoto ampaw ojina amraso isi lawyer penyin so just na manuvo no so jina amraso ese sa wo hwe eye high court civil procedure rules eye CI 47 no ma sa wo hwe order 36 rule 4 sub rule 3 any order 38 3e 1 any 5 as amended by CI 87 na yensha obisa omegina adaka mu media dance emra no enya sa na mra ne kire enti sa wo beda court a oba fi say unim say wasama wo de ba no emu odu enya tentenhuo enya sawa unim asama wo de beda court enti na abaye ye medru court hanwie emmeka sama dance enu mu oha enti me baba beji dance afri nipa amene no pre wo court ha no ho enti mesre mo sensem na ya no mama na kofom na Ghana fonzo so ate ase se sabi ne wa beda court e de akyinye aba beto ha no ono ena sese ode ne nyina so ene na dance e ba enti nyame adoma ochina se court no sasim eye nyame adoma ya wada napa court no besi nkonwa na enne ensema epiem application a eye first and second respondent a lawyer for the abeda court no wa bebu na eduru ho nso ye de no nso nkyeremu bebremu medamu nyina amase.
This is Angel 102.9. This is Angel 102.9. This is Angel 102.9.
All right. You go so Supreme Court ha na mene na bi eni enkomo kakra. Na menhwe nana pada Roma be me kakra bi. Key question be or share to say tofa ebaye nana bi be me kakra bi utie samejemfi nchiremu ade baye no a se Ghana ni bi etie ade eba ne se Electoral Commission oba no be kirekiremu a e ma asem ni nyina eda etie de mode baye a de chene se enye eno ena ya asem no a ewo court enye nchiremu bia nemum mo asem amade bedan court na asem di hu adanse. As I say, apart from the court of public opinion, how are you planning to win that? Because it looks as if they are almost kind in the eyes of the people. We can say, okay, you see why you're not doing it. You say, oh my. How do you intend to win that?
I mean, the court of public opinion say, mom wabon tindia no kwasebli ni nkomo pepa ne say, omampani mahama wo so wini aba no. We a press conference. Sana kan wo se awia wo. Enti na ma wo kwa wo chitafo wa hwe eye oye kira NDC fo ye wo Ghana fa na nyina na ebi ehwo ka adwamu na ebi kwa nya aban ma ne enti nka Ghana fo kwa dodo na hwe ne se wo kwa na wo se nka betra daka mu former president Mahama wo na wo se nka wo ba na nka toto wa no obusa wo se mampani dade wo nyina so wo he na you can some say we are on Tiansan to Abano for dia. Na unyina so no he. Nti ye ka obi panki here no adakam Ghana for here na padia and then kobo kwaduna. In this case, a year former President Mahama. Ona ade wasema ba, ona asu unyina so, udi ka katese we wini abai, tene no san ka be kirem. Nti ye hwe adanse for no so afro no so a wan fa to mi krata bia mo bia o. Wo za wo hwe na nado danko akufu ado a. O de to mi krata ma eye chema makmanu. Near friend of power of attorney no. Na what do wasama ba court wabokwa adu. Ukro ye you know onanse for me ansan ofre wo no.
Say no ya gina mosquito e gina mo no.
Da bi na meka say he na nadan kwakufu ado 2013 throughout oba court ah. It is a court ahia mprebe edumiensa. Emu mienu pe no aba. Ni aka nyina wo mae. Wa wo mu ne nke hia wada ka bi so senke toto on na nke busa wo. Ensemfua enti wo fra wa dance for miensa no ena omo a oso mu yi anu ka se na ensemu a ye fra mu yi makan kura de enso bia nyinam eni nyina so bia asa ebosrem ka asa mu anka se mu nia dance obeka ya pani pa ba ko judge pani busa esedu nketia se na mo amubu mu nkunta no se no mampani Muhammad nyaa se na nado danko akufuado his excellency nyaa na senso ena ye the total valid vote cast was my lord I have not brought that figure to court. It's not ba oba court no unyina so ne say etino kwasam ne yen respondent ye hu say omu wi o masem mu close omu case no omuntimi shadam peja asembie mu dubia no enfamaye
obi beka se asemi yese nanado ena ye Ghana mampani NDC for se dabi wantimi anyo mampani nipa oye referee electoral commission on the between beka se o ya mpa nanado we ne ye anase dabi nanado anwene enti dia na ama because easy e won a lawyer and nanado nso won a lawyer nanado lawyer mokra mo nhye se mama isi metenem no be dia danse magana fo nyina hu say no kra nanado edi nkunim but it looks like what dia danse
what can declare on the 9th of December 2020 what declare say nanado danko akufuado na president owie ye no ana wasama na be ye mra
This is Angel 102.9.
It we not from there. It is onye waye. This
is Ghana's own.
Say the enenka NDC for omodoso mashebejom pa. Ni mashebejom. Eni enkiem kwa mashebejom. Nanka NDC for no omo
2.9.
pre omra mashebejom. No be yi sansem na no. But court of law ye dem na ye adwuma. Oba kwadu no. No untimi ma abrawo ni nyina so embeka sa afei documents un ka se woni bi wo bi dada afei na chinchina e wo se isi ebegina daka mu na toto na no wonso a wadanse ye wo de ba no amfa ama enti nyame no mukra ni asem we se ne de obi pa nke hia no adaka mpa no the former president John Dramani Mahama ono be kire Ghana for kwan a isi fa so mu wi ano ene kwan a ono kire se aba no yansan to no fofo ono na osenko bi gina daka mu
mamenyi we ntwato sesi a utie twatwe nsem o kan ye ene line bi okoso kakra na osan free ho a esusu se ba se isi court no erule kra se ye mane megina mu a omo wo another option of a subpoena se omo de beto court na nim se onhye ye mame jenmensa na omra emegina daka mu mo hu ne san
o se no so court na be kire enti ni waka no de yentwani enu ho enye se wo na wo de ope kwakoye asem bia ope bia wo de to court anim court hwe ehu nyina so ehu nsem a wo kana so mbefa eno mfa
but if she is subpoenaed mobile okay
no ana make count masa na no court na be kire
no it is say court kire ne sa how do you say
no mama no she's always been ready because I see her readiness every day she comes to court chama makmenu every day oba court obi am hu ne se oni gidie o asemi mu former president Mahama no mu na asem kro ma court dada it is a Supreme Court kase omo hye ma me ne se omra na ombema media dance ya menyi ni se bebe high case in any way but ade gina so no ene se wa obo kwadu no uno so di nyina so ba NDC for former president Mahama entimi mfa nyina so bia mae ya tesem ye hu wa ha Rojo nsem oba ye obekeka ye mane bi ho no ma me de nsa hyase a me fom ye mfom so na ba ye bi ho nso aye dada me say how can you even allow yourself to be deceived it is some mo kan nyina no NCC so o ma wo he a wo so ma no amfa ma wo ja wo fie e ma se na onya ya wo so de nkunta no amu nkunta etumo anga se mo ba no mu ni nyina so etu no kwasem ni asem we ne de ye ni petitioners no omomfa nyina so bi mu odu nyina so a eka former na former prime mo fa bi ma entoma sem no ne ye kan say court indeterminate matter no on omo ankasa evidence omo de aba na court fe say omo evidence omo nyina so bia
na bi yeda sipi eti yeda so ewo ye Supreme Court ha enche na ene asetena no abawie ye kra ama bra na ye nhwe ye ochena enya de court ebetena se enim se ya woda na ye beba se say omo koto so aba
se de abato no mokwakoto ansa na abato no kra beba no omokosa asa adwen on se obi a make legal argument yes cite Ghana nsem bia ekosi se ebeka se tra kra ko kwesi broni krom ekofa omomra ni bi ebaaye ebegine so eye ncheche mu bebre nti we omokon ebetimi aba se ebeka kwaye 43 anase 52 wo mu sete mu afo no hwe question na ebi mu person mu nyom ho ntia ebetimi aba se omu na adwen be ko benkrom ebetimi so aba ye hunu se nipa ba ko ebetwe ne hu anase nipa me atwo nti mo kɔ ne de kasi no mo so kɔ fa to ahwɛ ne yɛ fata si ebeji atuma na yen ntum de ye wada na wo mu nyina so madwen kɔ benkroma ye behu ana se madwen kɔ benkroma ye wada ne behu ni nyina.
All right. Yada sipi ama brako ampofo na me no ewo court ha na ya camera director Ernest media no Evans na ogina camera na chi a omiamia emfidie no ade eman yebeja mu ama mo ewo studio sede na court no apon tem kaka kemanfo betumi anya kwan na umokwa akọ have wo lunch wochina holiday nemum ya woda yebesan ahia wo ha ebisusu se ebeye day bia ano ebetumi ayeden me dey Kofi Adomah Nwanwanii yadosia.
If you're an active person like myself, there's nothing much you can do without picking up a few germs from my daily contact with fans, family, and friends. But you can